How's it going, everybody? I am here this evening with my beautiful co-host, Miss Bianca, and today we're going to be talking about some, I know this is very controversial to some people when it comes to that cheating, compromising, and all those great things. But hopefully, we're going to give you some informative point of views and things of that nature. So, without further ado, I know you guys been waiting. We're just going to jump right into it. For those of you who don't know, this is my lovely co-host, Bianca L. Gibson. Bianca, how are you doing there, Bianca?
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate that generous introduction.
Awesome. And I appreciate you for having me this evening as well. So let's dive right into it, Bianca, so we don't keep the people holding up any longer.
Yes. So, I get passionate about this stuff because I just think it's interesting. And I like to look at both perspectives, both men and women in general. And I talk to men and women daily.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that, is brought up quite often when it comes to the dating world is like, how much should we compromise, and what should we be compromising on? And when it comes to compromise, I feel like, nobody's perfect, right? So we aren't looking for Neo, the one, and y'all ain't looking for Holly Berry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
We come to a meeting, come to Jesus meeting about what we really, was realistic.
Right.
But at what, is the compromise too much? Because, obviously we have a high divorce rate. So people aren't happy. So you got to ask yourself, did you compromise too much where, you married a 4 or 5 and then you cheated on that 4 and 5 with an 8 and a 10? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, compromise, like what are the things that should be like a no deal compromise versus what should we compromise on? Some people feel like, looks are something that you can compromise on. We see it constantly, women may compromise and not, get an attractive dude, but he got the money and everything else that she want, a
right.
certain type of friend. Girl, I'm just, not all women think about that, but, they might be looking for stability, that type of thing. And then men, I don't know about them compromising on looks as much so, but some of the men be telling me that they compromise, which I know they do.
Right.
They might get the wifey who they feel like is super loyal. She ain't going nowhere. She might be a tad bit on the side, but just enough to keep him pleased. She ready to do whatever he need her to do. But she ain't really like his number 8-10 that he really wanted. But he know that she gonna bring a meal and a deal home, and be pleasing to him, right?
Right.
So, but the question I have is, okay, you compromise on looks. What are some of the things that you don't want to compromise on? And if you're compromising on these things, does it change over time that you don't want those things, or do you get discontented over a period of time? And hence the reason why people start not having a lot of sex when they're married, because they really wasn't feeling the dude or really wasn't feeling her in the first place. And then they end up cheating. Like, what? I need some insight.
And I think that this varies based upon man or woman, most definitely. And I think anyone can get boring and discontented, as you said, when it comes to these things. I know men, obviously this is a no-brainer, unless you're as we like to call homosexuals, where you just get with a woman for her money and you're going to use her for those purposes only, to try and basically live off her. But men, we typically go off of a woman's looks first. This is the first thing that attracts us to a woman. And a lot of times guys, go ahead.
Thanks for admitting that.
Hey, it's not, that's not even a secret at all. But
when I said it on my platform, y'all men came for me like, no, I want a girl with some intelligence and blah, blah, blah. I was like, but y'all go for the looks first. So stop. Just stop it.
Yeah, I think men just say that just to be politically correct. That's bull. I mean, even when I take polls on my page and ask ask these questions, they're like, well, I'd rather take a 4 as long as she doesn't have any kids, as opposed to like a 10 that may have a child or two for that. But that's a whole different arena. But we are visual creatures, not to say that women aren't, but I think a woman is, in my opinion, is more receptive to dealing with a guy that provides security to her. And, you know, she knows that she's going to be good. Is this guy good for her? Is this guy good for me? Is what women typically ask. He may not be the best looker. Is he a good provider? And will he be a good father? As opposed to men, I'm not saying all men, but in terms of looking at her, will she be a good mother? I mean, yeah, but first things first, you know, you have to lay next to this woman. If she doesn't turn you on, if she's not the coolness of your eyes, I think all those things come secondary.
Exactly.
You know,
and
in my opinion.
You said that because men argue with me all the time when I say looks is their first priority. And the reason I say that is because even when I just experienced this because I'm deemed I look pretty. And because I look pretty, then I have men automatically approach me like, oh, you get the pretty girl benefits. And I've never experienced that. I grew up with people telling me I was ugly. So it's funny to me, but they already come with this expectation that pretty girls look a certain way and act a certain way. And then if you say, or you are intelligent and you're pretty, then it's like, oh, you're stuck up. She's not submissive. So it's this whole.
So let me ask you this, Bianca. You don't think that there's pretty privilege? I'm just asking you that. I wanted to cut you up before we actually get past that. You don't believe that there's pretty privilege for women?
Oh no, I believe there's pretty privilege. I worked in sales.
Okay.
I was a manager in sales.
Okay.
And I was approached by men in that way. But what I'm saying is, I grew up being the ugly duckling. Gotcha. It wasn't until later on in life that somehow I went to the other side and experienced the, oh, you look good. And then at that point, after being called ugly almost half my life, I was like, forget that crap. I don't care if you think I'm pretty or not. Don't talk to me. Mm-hmm. So it was more of a, I don't really care at that point. But I do believe that there's a pretty privilege. But I'm just saying I personally have not taken advantage of that or really experienced that because of just my life, you know, but I do know that it exists.
Right. So you realize this later on that even though you didn't take advantage of it, did you notice a difference between you and other women in that aspect?
No, I said I don't take advantage of it.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Even though you never took advantage of it, did you notice that you were treated differently than maybe your contemporaries, your friends, and things of that nature, or your girlfriends?
I noticed it in a negative manner. You want me to, let me explain that.
Yeah.
I didn't know in a positive way. I noticed it in a negative way. When I say negative, I feel like men are more likely to take advice about relationships and women and men relationships when she ugly, looking like Whoopi Goldberg, versus somebody like Holly Berry or that looks pretty and saying something negative. The same way with women. We, you know, if the person's ugly, you're going to be like, well, yeah, she's saying that. You know what I mean? But if it's somebody pretty saying the same thing, it's like, it's just different. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of the same. Pretty girls don't have intelligence or mind. They're more, you know, that type of thing. I experienced that more than anything. So because I do have some intellect and I look good, I feel like I get a lot of bitter men coming for me because I do halfway look decent and I got a mind and I know how to speak and I love men. I respect you guys. I know your role. I know how God created you. I know what my creator says about you.
Right.
But at the same time, I know my position as well. And I feel like because of the way I look, it's not received. My message isn't received as much so. But if I was ugly, maybe it would be received.
If you were,
but I don't know how that has to do with relationships and compromising, but
yeah,
I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, I was just asking that question, you know, in terms of that. And since you bring that up, so we were on that topic. you were married once, right?
I was married twice.
Okay, so first husband, we're just talking about your first husband now. I got this question for you. Do you felt like, were you attracted to him? Did you find? Go ahead. No?
So I feel, when I got married, I felt like the first time, I would say he was decent. Everybody, I have to say I'm a unicorn in this sense. Because for me, I don't have a definition of what beauty is in my mind, because I was so screwed up when I was younger and being told I was ugly. And then I would see people who were in relationships and I'm like, they don't even look like they should be together.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my idea of beauty is like different. So I always try to focus on the internal person, because that's what I feel like makes a person. Because I see a lot of people who I quote unquote don't maybe look attractive, but they apparently pulling a whole bunch of dudes. So I'm like, maybe my version of what looks good is messed up.
No, but but then again, it's subjective though. That's why I'm asking you. Like,
exactly.
what you find attractive may not be what other women find attractive, because I personally feel like women have a herd mentality when it comes to, what they find attractive. Like if they say that this man's attractive, then it seems like all women come out the woodwork and say he's attractive. But in your eyes, your first husband was decent. You wouldn't say that he was like gorgeous, I guess, in your opinion. He wasn't gorgeous. He was decent.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the women but in my eyes, he was just average.
He was average.
But before we go into that, because we got a little troll on here, so let me get this troll squared away and set him straight before we move on. He keeps putting on here, this is the same woman who, who don't date or marry, or said something about men who don't date women with children are low value.
Is this on YouTube or this is on IG?
This is on IG.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sweetheart, that conversation has gone and passed. We posted a video explaining that. If you don't want to look up that video with the explanation, this is neither the time or the place. We are on a different subject, so please don't put this in the feed. We trying to have positive vibes here. Right. Go look at the video that gives the explanation further if you have any further questions. Thank you. Continuing on. So yeah, he was average to me, but he had a personality that I felt balanced mine. Okay. He was more quiet, and I'm at that time I was more of an extrovert. So I was looking for somebody who could balance me out, because again, at that age, I didn't have a lot of self-love for myself. So I was looking for somebody to somehow complete me, or you know what I mean?
So you felt like you, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, so he wasn't the most attractive. He was, reserved guy, real quiet guy. And he was like the yin to your yang, so to speak. But in that aspect, did you know going in that, hey, I may be settling because he may not be a 10 out of 10, or was he just like a 7, or was he a 5?
So this is kind of a hard question, because I have to look back retrospectively. Right. Of course, at that time, I had no idea. I was young and dumb. You know what I mean? We don't know about our childhood trauma. Yeah. We don't know why we're attracting to whomever we're attracted to. So I had no clue about that. But as I got older and was able to look back at that situation, I definitely settled. I didn't have enough self-love. The dude was cheating before I got married to him. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, and even though I didn't know, pointed out, factually, it was conversations that I heard that he was. So that should have been a red flag for me to be like, you know what, let me pause on this. But because I didn't love myself, I had to take accountability of my actions, that there was some red flags that I just blankly ignored because I was looking for somebody to somehow validate me or complete me as a by the man in my life, my father and my parents, So That's something that, you know, I had to learn, you know, later on. I didn't know that right off the bat, you know, but, you know, you do better when you know better,
Right.
hopefully.
So your lack of self-love allowed you to accept the infidelity before you even got married.
Exactly.
Okay, got you.
So I feel like a lot of women do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when it comes to compromise and relationship, trying to bring this, you know, full circle, what are we compromising? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we settling for? Is compromising settling? You know? That's the question that needs to be asked, because I feel like there's a difference in compromising versus settling. Something went wrong with your.
Yeah, you got if you can hit that link again. I know they can still hear you because I'm playing you off Instagram, but if you can click on that link on your computer and the StreamYard.
Okay.
Are you able to get it? Or you got to get back in the messages. Do it. We can still hear you. We can still hear you.
It back in there. But yeah, so I feel like there needs to be understanding as to what is compromise versus what is settling. So from your perspective as a man, what do you feel like the difference is between compromise and settling? Yeah, something's going on. It's not popping up.
Yeah. Compromising and settling. I'm going to drop it in while I'm explaining that. I'm going to go ahead and try to drop it onto your live chat. That way we can go ahead and get that on there. Compromising is something that you do together. It's a bilateral thing. I think settling is something that you do on your own. That's something you consciously do without the other party. That, in my opinion, that would kind of like be my explanation for it. If you get
okay, so compromise is something you do together versus settling is what you do singly. I don't know about that. I had a guy say to me, and he corrected himself. I had a guy tell me that I had all these great qualities and how attracted he was towards me.
Okay,
but that initially when I was like, I'm not sure about marriage. You know what I'm saying? It has to be the right person.
I don't know about that. I had
I'm sorry. This thing is just, it's stuck. Let me close this out. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was trying to put it on your chat. Go ahead. You said this guy said what now? I'm sorry.
So he said all those things, and then, but he was like, you know, but you're not willing or unable to give me what I want, which is I want to be married, and you don't want to be married. And he was like, and I want kids, and I don't want kids. I got my tubes tied. I got 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought he was like, but he was like, you have so many great qualities. It outweighs all that. I'm willing to settle for that. And when he said that, I was like, oh, heck to the no, you didn't. You know, I was like a little offended because I was like, settling? You ain't settling for, do you know who you talking to? Like, I know my worth, like, you know.
But he wanted kids? You said he wanted kids? You said he wanted kids?
He wanted another kid. So he corrected himself. He was like, you know, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I said, well, what the heck do you mean? He was like, well, I just realized that, you know, relationship is about compromise. And that's what kind of got me on this thing about compromise, because I hear it a lot. And I'm like, that's not a compromise to me. If you want a kid and somebody's saying, no, I ain't willing to give you that, that's something that's like, in my mind, a deal breaker, because that don't change. That's something that's deep down in you, a desire. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't come to the table and say, okay, well, you know, I already have kids. I know there's a difference. Men want their own flesh and blood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I respect that. So as a woman, if you tell me that and I'm not able to give it, ain't no way in heaven and hell am I going to walk into a marriage with you knowing that I can't give you something that you want.
Yeah.
And us agreeing to adopt a baby is still not giving you what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in my mind, I felt like that's what people do. He was willing to tell me that he's willing to settle and saying that that's not, or compromise, but no. you can't compromise on something like that. That's something that would later on come up in the situation in your marriage, and then y'all end up divorced because you should have never compromised on that in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Right. While you just take a quick intermission there, I posted the link on it. I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah. If you can, I don't know if you can send that to your laptop somehow or whatever that you can.
Is that a new link?
No, that's the same link.
I tried to.
Oh, there you. I see you. I see you right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I see you right now. So you just got to get your camera back on here. That way we can hear you. We can hear you. We just can't. Now we can see you because I can still have your audio. I just don't see your camera on your webcam, if you will.
Okay.
Because I added you on here. It just, you know.
I don't know. It says stop cam, or I don't know why it's not showing it.
Press that button again where you just said it said stop cam or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this picture is a picture showing up on here. I don't know what's going on, but you know.
I don't know why it's not showing me.
Yeah, we'll see. But let's continue though. Maybe it'll pop up somehow. But yeah. So that was the whole situation in terms of basically you agreed that definitely that wouldn't be a situation you'd get into in terms of that, because
I mean, but that's the whole thing that I'm saying, you know. That's not, I felt like that's something he should not, and I told him that, I said that's something you should not compromise, you know. That's something that would later come on up in the, you know, in whatever relationship, or even if you decided to get married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're conflicting about other things, that would be like, and you didn't give me a baby. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the type of stuff that you hear. You know, I know you do life coaching. I do life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of stuff that comes up later on.
Yeah.
You know? So my thing is, again, what should you compromise on and what should you not compromise? I feel like having a understanding of what should be compromises versus what shouldn't be probably needs to be spoken.
Right, for sure. That's definitely ahead of time. I mean, those things, that's like, I mean, serious relationship, but marriage level, definitely when it comes to decisions like that. You know, I know I did a reaction the other day, and there was a situation similar to what you're talking about, and I don't know if you happen to see it or not. This lady, and I'm just bringing this up because it fits what you're talking about. This young lady, she was in her 30s. She married a guy, and she found out he already had kids. He was like, I think he was 10 years old. I can't remember off top. He was like 10 to 15 years older than her. He already had kids, but throughout the course of their marriage, they found out, according to her, and it seemed like, you know, it seemed kind of sketchy. They found out he couldn't have kids after they already got married. So she asked, hey, can we, as you said, the whole compromise thing, hey, can we adopt then? You know what I'm saying? After they ran the test and said he couldn't have kids. And he was like, he was completely against adoption. So she was like, well, I got to go on about my business at this point. You know what I mean? And she filed for divorce from him after she tried to compromise, you know, so on and so forth. So I know a lot of people were, and I think even Kevin was saying, and other people were saying as well, that this is your husband, what happened to Val, so on and so forth. And there was mixed reactions to that situation. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? If you understand what
Are you talking about the celebrity Tammy?
No, this is just a random. This is just a regular, you know, regular woman, regular guy.
Okay. Okay. So I personally feel like, see, these are the things I feel like people should talk about from jump. You know what I'm saying? That they don't ask these questions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
These are like life questions. Like, you should be asking, like, are you willing, if I get super sick, to be my caretaker. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, those are questions that need to be had, because for some women, they like, if you get sick, I'm bouncing. You know what I mean? I can't deal with that. I didn't sign up to be a caretaker, right? And then there's some people that are willing to do that. So you got to know who you dealing with. And somebody put on this commentary, you know, should a single mother of 4 be willing to compromise more than a single woman with no kids? As if having children. This is the mentality that is surprising me. Somehow, I think this mentality that because a woman has kids, she loses value. I'm sorry, but that's not my story. I can pull any man I want to, honestly. I know my value. I think I score pretty high in many different areas. That's not being arrogant. I work on myself.
Right.
I'm healed and, you know, whatever. But the thing is,
stay out them comments, Bianca, but go ahead.
I know, but I'm just saying, just because somebody has children, or even if you feel like you don't look like you're the most prettiest, that doesn't mean that you should lower your standards. I mean, for real? Or if you feel like if somebody's divorced, so I guess because I'm 2 times divorced, I'm supposed to lower my standards? That makes no sense. Help me understand.
So what they're trying to say is that, I guess, and this goes for anyone. This isn't just women, but this goes for anyone who has, I guess, what's considered children, age, any sort of baggage you may have. You can't be looking for the same, or basically the way it's understood. Don't expect to pull the same type of guy. And I understand what you're saying. Your opinion is you can pull that guy, or you can still pull that same type of guy you could pull as if you didn't have children or was ever divorced, so on and so forth, and was in your 20s. It's just saying there's certain factors that the same type of guy that this person who doesn't have it, you may not be able to pull that same guy, in terms of this man may not be looking to absorb all of that. And you may not look at it as baggage, but men have baggage, women have baggage, so on and so forth. But he may not be looking to absorb that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you have to ask questions, because everybody has baggage. What one person considers baggage may not be considered baggage to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to look at someone in the totality of who they are. You know, it's kind of like doing the Benjamin Franklin assessment. You know, what are their positive versus, you know, some of their challenges. I don't really look at it as necessarily negatives, but what are their challenges? You know, is that person a forever learner? You know what I mean? Or are they stagnant with where they are? You know, those are some of the things you got to look at, because if a person's just content as to where they are, and you're a person who's constantly looking to improve, or you're ambitious and you're trying to do this, and that other person is just not on the same page, then you got to really ask yourself, you know, 5 years, 10 years from now, is that going to really make you happy?
Right.
Happiness is a temporary state.
Always.
So you need something that's, you know, sturdy with foundation. Like, what is really the foundation of your relationship? And then it can't be based on just sex and looks and money, you know?
Yeah. Let's take a quick little intermission here, Bianca. And if you could click that link again to see if it goes through. While we're doing that real quick, make sure you guys hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Right now we have 77 people watching, and there's only 40 likes. If you can get us up to 70 here, that would be awesome. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Meanwhile, the beautiful Bianca, and yes, I'm simping right now for all you guys, you He-Man woman haters. Yeah, these He-Man woman haters, you can't call a woman beautiful these days, because calling a woman.
I'm very appreciative of your compliments, because you're quite handsome yourself, and I appreciate all the love and support from you.
Yeah, calling a woman beautiful, I'm simping right now. So let me go ahead and let's get Bianca back on here. I know that camera should be, there we go. See, because you guys, she was talking, you guys, a lot of you guys just joining, you didn't see her. So you guys were talking crap. And this is what I wanted to say this too as well, Bianca. This is the funny thing that these guys say on here. And it's just to make this comment. You'll say, well, she's got baggage, she's got tattoos, she's got this, that, and the third. Knowing that the woman gave you a time of day, you'd be paying her car note, you'd be offering all these incredible things to do for her, so on and so forth. But you put up this image that, oh, that's out of the question. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do this, so on and so forth. Yeah, she's pretty, but she's got baggage. Next thing you know, if she gave you the time of day, you guys would be singing a different tune, man. It's so crazy. And I see that on a lot of these videos I do, that guys will say this crap. And I just think it's comedic in itself, man. But that's neither here nor there.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Quick, because this goes back to the whole relationship and compromise, because one thing that I love about you is that you're kind of like me. You call it what it is, both on each side,
right,
male or female. And that's what I appreciate about you, your transparency, your authenticity. So I want to commend you on that. I do believe that when men do that, it's a defense mechanism. It's a coping mechanism because of whatever insecurity that they may have. You know what I'm saying? So they throw that out because they're like, well, if she rejects me, she got baggage. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something in human nature we do. Women do it too.
Right.
We might be like, well, I don't like him because this, X, Y, and Z. But that's because we're trying to protect ourselves and our ego from possible rejection. You know what I mean? Instead of just standing in who we are and appreciating people for who they are and acknowledging, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
If that person were to give me the time of day, I would want to get to know that person. You know what I mean? Because these are some of the qualities that I see. And I think when we make a line down the middle and we're so black and white, it just shows our vulnerability, that we really do have some unhealed parts and insecurity that we haven't addressed. And that's all I'm saying. Let's come to the table because, nobody's perfect. And at the same time, we do have certain, I would like to say, not expectations. I want to ask you, because I know we come from two different, belief systems. I think you're Muslim and I'm Christian. I feel like if your expectations are rooted in your belief system and foundation, and you guys are on the same page regarding that, then I feel like you have more of a sturdy foundation because it's rooted in what you feel like your creator says that you should be, your role and how the relationship should be. But when we come with our own agendas and our own thought process, it can always bring conflict because nobody's raised the same way. We came from different families. We came from different backgrounds. You know what I mean? So I think healthy expectations are good if they're based on truth and what your creator says that how you're supposed to operate. But when it's based on just frivolous, your opinions, then it's a problem.
Yeah, I think some things are just, a lot of people, men and women, they just parrot other things they hear other people say, and they don't necessarily believe it or implement it. I think when you get on the spiritual tip and the religious tip and all those things, yes, that does play a role. But I think everybody, as far as human beings, we have a natural inclination of, and obviously a lot of this, as you said earlier, this comes from childhood. The way we treat the opposite sex is, I think it directly comes from our childhood, how we were reared, if we were abandoned, if we weren't shown love, if we weren't, hugged, if we were left abandoned, all that has to do with it. But that religious thing, I think you can still come from two different walks of life and still have an understanding of what it is to be a good person, if which is still subjective as well. But I think we all have certain rules on what it is to be kind, which isn't religious, has no religion to it. Being kind, being understanding, being loving. None of these things.
do unto you.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean
you
that's
feel-
universal. Yeah, these are universal things, which I think why so many people who do have different religions, spirituality, so on and so forth, because, and I know we're veering off to this, your salvation at the end of the day is your responsibility. It's not mine. That's my
exactly.
that's my belief. So whatever you believe, we're enjoying each other in this realm right here. Your salvation is up to you. I don't know what goes on in your mind. You don't know what goes on in my mind, and what, in terms of that. So I feel that we can still communicate and have an understanding or love for one another in terms of that.
Yeah,
But
of course. But what I merely was saying is that, if you have a belief system and a foundation of how people should be treated or how the relationship should work, whether it's gender roles or not, or, you know what I'm saying? Some people feel like, there shouldn't be gender roles and that the man shouldn't lead. I believe that the man was called to lead. You know what I mean? He was called to be the provider. So you have to make sure that your belief systems are similar.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Cause you can't have a tyrant, in the house, or basically two. And I know they hate this term. You can't have two masculines. There's everything in the universe has a positive and a negative, or there's polarity. You can't have two people trying to basically, command everything, or just button heads, two chiefs, if you will. You can't have that. You can still have polarity, understanding. I honor you, you honor me, in terms of that. And this is the part, and I'm gonna branch off on this and get your opinion on this. In terms of husband, wife, partner, do you think that goes together? Partnership, or with husband being a husband or a wife, so on and so forth, that you can be partners as well, or friends?
I totally believe that. I believe in that. If I'm married, you should be my best friend. You should be my partner. You should be my business partner. You should be everything. Like, I personally believe that. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but I'm kind of like on the thing, like, if I cannot build an empire with you, I have an issue, because I have to have some things that are going to keep me in the crunks when it get bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So me just having a sexual relationship with you and so-called loving you ain't going to just keep me there. I need to be able to, like, figure out other avenues that's going to keep me engaged. You know what I'm saying?
So you couldn't deal with you couldn't have a stay-at-home man. You couldn't have a stay-at-home man while you out there earning.
What now?
You couldn't have a guy that's staying at home, while you're out there earning, or let's say a guy that's taking care of the kids.
No, not what I'm saying.
I'm asking you, though.
That's not what I'm saying.
But I'm asking you.
So for me, it's all about coming to the table and communicating what the end goal is.
Right.
If the end goal, it can be achieved with him staying home, I'm okay with that. That doesn't mean he loses his position as leader. No, it just means that how you're leading, it's in a different format, but you don't lose your position. If we get into the same end goal and you're at home and you're working on something, maybe you're at home because you're trying to go for your master's in divinity, or you're trying to go back to school. And I'm like, okay, babe, I got that. You know what I'm saying? Do you, because I know at the end, when you get your stuff, now you're going to take us to the next level. I'm all for that. You know what I'm saying? What's the end goal?
Right.
I'm
just talking about he's sitting on his ass at the house. And
no, because again, if you just sitting there, then we already missed the whole being transparent and honest. Like, what is this relationship built on? That goes for a man and a woman. Why would a woman just be sitting at home doing nothing? Like, what are you offering this relationship? A relationship is work. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Why are you sitting at home doing nothing, whether it's a male or female?
Yeah. So,
like, why aren't you productive?
so next question for you. So you said you were young on your first marriage, and obviously you had some insecurities, if you will, or you didn't know yourself quite well, and you were looking to fill that void. And this person, you accepted some things, you settled for some things, wasn't necessarily any compromises. You just settled for it because, that was a situation. As you gotten older into your second marriage, how would you say in terms of you entering that one? How was that one in terms of did you feel like you were settling going into that one? Were you attracted to him? Was he
So listen, this is what's so crazy about it.
okay?
And I'll have to tell you another story after I tell you my story.
Okay.
So the first dude, we met in college.
All right.
Okay. And he wasn't really as ambitious, okay? He played sports or whatever. I was helping him even in college, okay? So in my mind, like, he didn't have the same level of ambition. And even after that, like, I started making a lot of money. He didn't make the same amount of money, but that for me didn't matter. It was kind of like we're growing together.
Yes.
After all of that and all the cheating and all that, and I finally left. In the second marriage, in my second marriage before we got married, I was like, I ain't going to do this. I'm gonna look at the red flags. I'm going to make sure I love myself, and somebody's going to be ambitious. Somebody going to be making six figures like I am, so that won't be an issue in the marriage. And I was just like, I'm going to make sure I'm attracted to the person. I did all that, right? But the thing about it is, this person love bombed me. So he was a narcissist. He love bombed me. So he mirrored me, right? He was a pharmacist. He had his degree. He was making a six-figure just like I was. We was committed, okay? So I thought I was doing something right because he was totally opposite in so many different areas as the first one, but personality and character-wise, the two were the same. So on paper, he was like totally different, checked off every list, but I didn't look at the character, the personality. That's what I missed. And I was attracting the same personality, which means it was a flaw within me. Why was I looking for a man to get a man's approval? I had daddy issues, and I didn't realize I had daddy issues because Bianca didn't get the approval from her daddy. She didn't feel like her daddy loved her enough. So I was looking for, subconsciously, childhood trauma was attracting what it was used to in my childhood. So I was looking for a man that he said jump, and I was like, okay, how high should I jump? Because I was trying to win his approval. And both men were that way, even though they were distinctly different, career-wise, education-wise, and everything else. They both had the same quality, which was they were men who were narcissists, who my subconscious and childhood trauma that did not heal was searching for that approval and that acceptance and that love to say, Bianca, you're worthy. So he was my type. He was all of that. But Bianca wasn't healed. So until I realized that, dang, I didn't pick the same daggone personality. What the heck is wrong with Bianca? Let me fix whatever is wrong with me, because obviously I'm choosing them wrong. It didn't get fixed.
So basically, you're saying he was a narcissist, but your shortcoming in that relationship, even though this guy was your type, he checked all the boxes on everything. On paper, your shortcoming in this relationship was the fact that you weren't healed. You didn't make any.
I was not healed, and I didn't realize I wasn't healed. I was making the money. I had my education. I was networking. I thought I crossed the list. I was doing wifey things, but those wifey things I was giving, but I wasn't receiving. So I was giving love. I was overly doing, surprising people. I did a video on 5 things that women do that don't love themselves. I would overly apologize. Everything I thought was my fault. I was trying to fix me, all those different things. And I was giving love, but lust was taking it. Lust was hoarding. Lust was greedy. You know what I'm saying? So the dynamic wasn't working because I was doing those things to get approval. They were wifey material things, but the intentions and the motive behind why I was doing it was because I was seeking for somebody to heal the brokenness of not feeling wanted, not feeling accepted, and not wanting to be loved. And so that's what I teach young women now. You have to love yourself, because those actions aren't bad necessarily in themselves. You're supposed to, cater to your man. You're supposed to love your man. You're supposed to surprise your man.
Right.
You're supposed to do those things. But you got to have healthy boundaries and set those boundaries, because nobody should, abuse you emotionally or physically, and you be okay with that. Not everything is your problem. Some people, they have the problem. You know what I mean? So you got to love yourself and set healthy boundaries and standards in every relationship.
So let me ask you this. Throughout that situation with all those issues that was going on, did he ever express to you that he felt like you had some shortcomings, or that he was maybe settling for you because of his stature at that point?
So and I speak about this in my videos too. It's so funny because men will watch some videos but not watch all my videos. They occasionally don't look at the videos where I say what my problems were, because I'm always like,
that's why I'm asking you, because I know people. This is kind of like everybody's introduction to you, and we want to get both sides. And I know he's not here. Neither one of them are here to explain themselves, but I'm just asking you.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things in both of the relationships that I had to look at and really look at it clearly, because despite them being narcissists, there's truth in every situation. I don't care how bad you think the person is. I don't care how you want to dog them out. There's always truth in whatever situation.
Facts.
You got to pull bones out of that fish and get to the truth.
Facts.
Nobody's perfect. So one of the biggest things that both of them said was that I made them feel like they were not needed. So I had to look at that and figure out, well, what was I doing to make them feel not needed? Now, there's multiple components with that. You know what I'm saying? I had to look, and the great thing about it, which gave me some clarity and some balance, one of the guys, he didn't make a lot of money. The other guy made a lot of money. So it was able to give me balance, because if both of them said it and one made money and one didn't, then it had to be some validity to it, right? Because I made a lot of money. I always made a 6-figure income.
Okay.
So I had to figure out, what was I doing in both situations that they both felt like they weren't needed? So was it because I never asked them for anything and that I could pay for everything myself, and so I didn't ask them to do anything? Or I hired it when I needed help, I hired another person to do it? I had to start going down that list of what exactly was I doing. And so my job and what I did, even when I divorced these men, I said, can you please tell me what exactly, can you give me examples of what I did to make you feel less of a man, or make you feel like I didn't need you? Because that's not what I intended to do. And obviously I did that, and that hurts you. So I don't want to do that ever again to anybody.
Now, real quick, Bianca, was this brought to your attention later on in the relationship, or was this early on where they were telling?
No, it was brought on after all the drama,
okay,
after all the abuse, and after all the cheating. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That was the excuse, but there was opportunities before that, you know what I mean, to bring it up. And I think a lot of people in relationships, we aren't honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We aren't honest with ourselves. So how can we expect for people to be honest with us when we're not even honest with ourselves? You know what I mean? Like, we are afraid to be authentic and real because we're afraid of hurting somebody's feelings, or we're afraid of how they may react. But the reality of it is, when we don't be honest and authentic, it comes out in other ways.
Yeah.
And still end up having the bad results from that.
So I talk about that situation. I'm glad you explained it that way. And I know, because I discussed this probably a while ago, the same concept that you're talking about. And it sounds so familiar. Of both of them were, and I'm just paraphrasing what you're saying based off my understanding of what you're saying. both of them felt like you didn't need them. You were self-sufficient. You were independent, or may have viewed you, even though you were independent, may have viewed you as masculine, which is a talking point that a lot of guys use in terms of that. So I've said this in reference to women that take care of men. I know that wasn't the situation that you're telling me, but a woman that takes care of a man will do two things, which basically means a woman that takes care of a man means that she doesn't need him, i.e. the homosexual, the Pookie Ray Ray, but this is still the same concept for what I'm hearing. A man who feels that way, that a woman doesn't need him, will do two things, especially if she's masculine and she flaunts it in his face. He will end up resenting her, and he will end up cheating on her to get that feeling from another woman in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that's the exact thing that occurred, but it kind of sounds like it based upon that I don't feel this. I'm with this woman that's almost as if, like, I know we're saying partner, I have no problem with a partner, seeing a wife as a partner. But if we're working to build an empire, she's not my, and people have a problem with me saying this, she's not my subordinate, and
Right.
especially a lot of these guys who she's going to pay half of the bills. How is she your subordinate if she's paying half of the bills? But anyway, what I'm getting at is that a man who doesn't feel like, or whether he's emasculated, or whether he doesn't have a purpose, or whether his woman can just, his woman, quote unquote, his wife, his girl, whoever, she's basically self-sufficient and she doesn't need me, I'm going to throw my hands up, and I'm probably going to resent her in the process, and I'm going to go out there and get a woman that I don't have to deal with all this. Maybe she don't have enough time.
They want to feel needed, and they want to be Captain Save-A-Ho. But let me talk about this a little bit different, okay? There's some Captain Save-A-Hos. Now, you know there's some Captain Save-A-Hos because...
Of course.
Like, they're needed. Now, here's the other part of this. Because men who say women who make money, who independent, demonstrate masculinity, that's not necessarily accurate, okay?
It's not.
Let me explain why.
Yeah, it's not.
Let me explain why it's not masculine. See, God gives us all gifts and talents to be used. And so we use them accordingly to, the level that we're given. So because my talent has made way for me, and I have always been successful where I can do for myself, doesn't make me masculine. What makes me masculine is if I don't allow you to be who you are.
Yes.
If I try to dominate you, that's what makes me masculine.
That's correct. Okay? That is correct.
And so that's where I feel like men need to educate themselves and not put women in a box who are successful, because I'm as feminine as it gets. I want a man that can take charge, who can lead. I have no problem submitting to a man who demonstrates that he can lead. But submission goes both ways. Submission isn't a one-way street, and that's the part where I feel like a lot of men don't get, because if you're loving me the way that you're supposed to be loving me, I'm going to automatically give you that submission.
They don't like, I mentioned that, they try to tear my head off. So when I said that,
and this is where I took their feedback, and I took, okay, you're telling me that I didn't allow you to be a man, but I took it. You know what I'm saying? I processed it. But then I also had to realize too, they were not healed themselves. They were broken. They had mommy issues. So if you have mommy issues and you have resentment towards your mom and how she treated your dad, or she wasn't there for you, you're going to put me in that same category, and then you're going to filter me through that image. So I have to take accountability and see what I did that did fit that description where I might have demasculated him. And I also have to look at some of it probably wasn't my fault. Maybe you felt that way because your own insecurities, your own sense of unworthiness. because I could be doing all the right things and saying, hey, babe, and bringing my money home just like you do. And we have a joint account and I'm asking your opinion on stuff. And you still feel that way. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. You know what I'm saying? So being able to really understand, you know, your actions versus what you are doing versus what you're not doing is very essential. And it's about taking accountability, but it's also knowing what to take accountability for. Because I can't take accountability of your insecurities as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Your audio cut out. Okay, there we go.
What I did, your input. You know, I should ask for more of your input and not just do whatever I want to do. You know, we are in a relationship. But then there has to come to a point, too, that you have to ask yourself, you know, is some of this my own issues? Am I feeling insecure because she doesn't need me and I want to feel like, you know, I'm the provider, but she's making more than me? Or, you know what I'm saying? Those things come into play.
Facts. So let's do this, Bianca, because I know we did this on your IG before. I think we did like a little role playing thing one time where I was kind of asking you, so if we were to be, you know, discussing, okay, we're planning on taking this to the next level or what have you, what my duties and responsibilities are in terms of being your husband and vice versa, what your rights are over me and what my rights are over you in terms of that. Because I think I've been reading the chat and I think this is what a lot of people are asking. Based off of you talking, they tend to feel that you're not a submissive woman based off of you talking. So
I get that all the time because of how I look. I think that comes with the whole pretty thing, like pretty women aren't submissive. I feel like I get that, you know, and if you're pretty and you're smart, oh yeah, she ain't submissive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I get that bias all the time. So for me, it's the man's role. It comes out directly from what I believe in God's word. He is the head of the household. He is supposed to submit to Christ and he gets direction from God and he basically leads his family with those directions. And God sees both us as one. He says that our prayers are unified together, but that I am to support him. So even he comes to me and say, hey, babe, this is what, you know, I feel like God is leading my family to do. I might disagree with it and I say, I don't know if I feel the same way. At the end of the day, even if I disagree with it, I'm giving him, you know what, whatever you say, I'm here to support it. And if it messes up the family financially or whatever, I'm not there to beat him on the head and say, see, I told you shouldn't have did it.
Yeah.
No, I'm here to be like, you know what, it's okay. We're going to get through this because I realize position is all about position and authority and organization. God is a God of order. And so there's a scripture that comes to mind when the soldier came to Christ and he said, you know, I know that you're the Christ and I need you to heal my soldier. And he said, okay, well, show me where he's at. And the soldier said, no, you don't even need to come. I know if you say, thus says this so, that he'll be healed. Because he understood his position. You see what I'm saying?
So let's do this though, Bianca, because I think this is what we talked about. I get what you're saying. So I'm interested. Let's just say we meet. And I think this is what we talked about. I can't remember exactly how it went, but I'm just going off based off what I recall. I'm interested in you. I want to marry you. We going through, you know, counseling beforehand, or we just discussing with each other what my expectations are of you, what your expectations are of me. Obviously, we're going to be cohabitating once we get married. You know, you're an entrepreneur. You know, in real life, you own several businesses and I own several businesses. So we're working together. So first of all, you know, I have my expectations of, you know, I want to spend time with my wife. I want us to enjoy each other. You know, I don't want it to be like I get home at 7:30, you get home 7:30, 8 o'clock. We see each other for an hour. We get in bed, we do our thing, and then, you know, for like 30 minutes, and then that's it for the night, and then go on with, you know, the next day, so on and so forth. how is
Right.
my interaction if I'm marrying you, you know, and I know obviously you have expectations, but if I'm marrying you and that's my proposition that, you know, obviously my responsibility as your husband is to, regardless if you have a job or not, is to take care of you and whatever children we have together. What is going to be the dynamic at this point in your life in terms of us, you know, these are my expectations of wanting to spend time with you as my wife and us to be this unit.
Mhm. I think it's very important, and I'm glad that you mentioned you have to communicate what you are looking for. And that also comes with understanding each other's love language. And I heard you say quality time.
Right.
If that's your love language, quality time, I need to take a mental note of that and realize that that's how I need to approach you. My love language is words of affirmation. And then it's quality time and physical touch. And so I don't know if it's in that order necessarily, but you know, understanding what you need. So for me as an entrepreneur, it's funny you mentioned this because I just mentioned this to a dude I'm talking to. I said he's just as busy as me. He's in real estate. I'm in real estate. We have multiple businesses. And I said to him, I said, you know, you put yourself on a dating site and yet you're saying you want to date, but your actions show that you're not willing to make the sacrifices to spend quality time. I said, make it make sense. I said, I'm just as busy as you, but I'm taking time to call you. I'm taking time to send you a text. It takes about 2 seconds to say, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you're not making that time. You're telling me that you got this to go to and that to go to, but if you're really interested, like you say you are, you need to make time. If you can't even make time in this state of dating, then why should I even make time? Like, it ain't going nowhere. So for me in a marriage, you got to set the expectations. And I made this so clear. I'm not going to force somebody or have to ask you to love me. If you don't know how to already do that, like we in our 40s, like I'm in my 40s at this point, and you don't know the common things to do, just the common sense things to do, it's a waste of time for me and you. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I got 2 kids, but I also know, okay, we working too daggone much. Okay, so let's say Tuesday and Wednesday is our day. That's me and you day, right? Period. No matter how long, maybe you got a 12-hour day on this day. Okay, if you got a 12-hour day on that day, I'm going to have food ready when you come home, or I'm going to drop something off, make my schedule because I'm an entrepreneur to make sure we got that little connection here or there. What do you need? And if both are doing that, what do you need? And keeping that communication line open, you're getting what you need, which is quality time. If we got children, okay, they going to bed at 8:30 because we need our time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to set that time. You got to communicate.
I can be, and I think this is a common thing that, you know, may go over, and I think some women don't understand. Men, when you're looking to get married to a woman, you want to spend time with her. I don't see why you would be marrying a woman that you don't want to spend time with. I understand what that goes back to what you're saying. This has to be discussed beforehand. I wouldn't even be asking you for marriage to expect you to switch up on me after we get married, where I'm not being able to see you. That's going to be a must. You know,
not all men are that way. Some men put their job before their relationship. Like, yeah, I literally meet men who are so ambitious and so job and career focused. It's like, what's the point of you dating?
But what's the point? Yeah, what's the point of getting married? I understand dating.
Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, if you can't be there for your significant other, man, you know, I'm different, but most of the men I know and most of the men in the comments, why am I going to deal with a woman? And I think that's where it comes in. And it's no disrespect to any single mothers, but that's another reason why some men tend to stay away, because they never have time for that man, the time that he may desire, because there's all these other, you know, hurdles that may get in the way. So why would I be marrying a woman that I can't really spend time with? You know what I mean?
I'll say this very clearly. I totally believe that single parents should date single parents, period. I don't think that single parents should date people who don't have kids. I totally believe that wholeheartedly. Some people might get mad about that, but if you ain't got no kids, don't date me. Don't even dial my number. Don't send me a text. Don't DM me. If you ain't got no kids, don't date me. Because for me, you already get it. You already know what comes with it when you got kids. And so you know what the level of compromise and all those things come with the package. You know what I'm saying? You got to work around and this is funny because the guy that I was talking to, he has a daughter, and he was like, well, on the weekends, he would just disappear and not even text me, call me, or nothing. I'm like, dude, are you serious? He was like, well, I have my daughter, and when I have my daughter, she's my total focus. I said, you sound like a female. I said, Lord, I must have a lot of masculine energy because I'm like, I said, you sound like a daggone female. I said, there's some balance that needs to happen. I have my kids, but that don't mean I can't pick up the phone and say, what's up, boo?
Women look at that. Women look at that as feminine because I've heard women say that. I've had women tell me that, but obviously it bothered you to the point of you saying something, you know, and to him about that. And obviously, if you didn't know that he had his daughter during that weekend, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But
you have kids. Even if you have kids, you need to. I mean,
how far are you dating? It depends on how far along in the dating that you guys are in, how long you knew each other. You know what I mean? You look at it different.
I feel like, you know what? I personally feel like, you know, for me, you know, my older two are out of my house. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And me taking a 10-minute break just to talk to you for a minute while my children are running around the house, screaming, hooping, hollering, or playing in the backyard. How is that taken away from any quality time with them? My children, I have them on a schedule. They know mommy needs to get X, because I'm an entrepreneur. And I work at home sometimes. Okay, you're with me. This is our week together, but you know, mommy has to get this out of the way. So we're gonna do 2 hours here straight, just your attention. You got mommy, nothing else. And they're content with that because they know mommy gave me her full undivided attention. So they're more flexible when mommy says, okay, I got to get on this Zoom right now. Is that okay? Yeah, mommy. Okay, we'll go outside and play on the trampoline. You know, they understand because you set boundaries. You set standards. You know what I'm saying? And they're healthy. And you're teaching them that.
Right. I think
there has to be balance.
There has to be, but you don't want to. That's why I was asking how long you guys were dating. I know that's a personal question, but sometimes guys will do that to create that you wondering about him sometimes, and we do that. We don't, especially if you have children, you don't want to be blowing your phone up because that's feminine. If you look at it, you calling his behavior feminine, but him blowing your phone up is feminine.
See, this is where I feel like I am different. This is where I'm different.
We had this conversation. We had this conversation, Bianca.
And this is probably why I will stay single. Because this is what I consider playing games. If you want to call me, call me. Because I'm going to call you because I want to hear, if I'm into you, I'm going to be calling you. Or I might send you a text, or I might be cognizant if you say, hey, babe, I'm going to be real busy today. I'm not going to call you and blow up your phone, but I might send you a text and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I hope your day is going well.
Into you. Once that point, if we're in a full-blown relationship, then it's completely different. But dating, Bianca, we've had this conversation. We talked about this, and you said the same exact thing. You were like, maybe I'm different. I don't understand these games, so on and so forth. If he exhibited, and trust me, I can take it from personal experience. I'm not saying multiple women, but quite a few. Well, not quite a few. A few women I've done. Take it from me that as a man, once you exhibit that behavior, you start thinking to yourself, Does this guy not have anything going on?
See,
Is
and
he?
that's the
Is he?
problem. That's the problem.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
you're saying
And
this.
That's ignorant women mentality. I really wish that women would drop that ignorant mentality. Why is that?
It's not a mentality. It's the way you're wired. It's not a mentality.
I'm not wired that way. The women I'm around, we are not wired that way. So you're talking about a certain type of woman. The women that I associate with, that associate with me, we are not that way. I want a man to show me that you want me. If I gotta ask you and like
you know how many times I bit the dust doing that, Bianca? You know how many.
That's why I will be single, because I will not chase a man if you can't demonstrate that you want me. Guarantee another man is going to be showing me that he want me. So if you trying to not call me 2 days, 3 days because you trying to make sure that you seem masculine, you lost me already, because I don't want to be about that. I'm not about that game. I'm not. I want you to be calling me, blow up my phone.
You said that shit. You said that when we talked.
My love language. Blow up my phone.
When we were on your live, you said this same thing, Bianca. But I'm pretty sure if it happened, if that dude was doing that stuff you talking about now, you'd be talking trash about that guy, saying what is wrong with this guy? This guy is strange. This guy is thirsty.
No, Jay.
He's thirsty.
Jay, listen to me, Jay. The difference is when you're into somebody, you want that. When you're not into them, that's when it's irritating to you.
That's what makes you. That's what makes you.
Person, then you don't want them blowing you up.
That's what makes you.
The person, you want them to blow you up.
But you're speaking from a woman's perspective. That's what made you into them in the first place. Is the fact that they're not. You know how many women I've talked to, or I've done sessions with, or who listen. I'm just explaining to you. This has to account for something. They'll say, well, what you're saying right now, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, and I'm such and such, but you're the one emailing me. He's not emailing me, you are. Because he's not doing those things, you're going crazy over him at this point.
No. Let me correct you. And this is what I told the dude that I'm telling you about. This is what I told him. And this is why it's important as you get into these ages of maturity and healing that you communicate. What I said to him, I said, listen, this is called adult communication. I said, hey, I noticed that when I text you in the morning and you don't text until like 5, 6 o'clock at night, I just want you to know that it makes me feel a certain way. It kind of makes me feel like I'm not, you said you were into me, but it makes me feel like that you're not. Or maybe you are talking to multiple people, and I get that, and I understand that. Maybe I have to wait my turn. But I'm just telling you that if you really are into me the way you say you are, I need more communication and more time from you if you can give that to me. That's called mature communication. And you know what? He said, you know what? He was like, this is why I love you, because you know how to communicate. Yes, I'm not judging you for your actions, but I'm going to let you know what I need. This is what I need. And like I told him, I said, I need to hear from you. I mean, at least once out of the day, if that's too much for you, let me know so that I can move on to X, Y, and Z. If you contacted me at least once a day and you that too busy, then let me know. And right now, I'm not mad at you. I'm cool that you busy and you got your stuff going on and you a high value man. But if my desire and need is too much for you, let me know right now so I can move on to pursuer number 2.
What prompted you to do that, though? I mean, Bianca, that the fact that he did that and you took the time and he said, let me give you a quick story, and then we're gonna wrap this up, and we could take some questions because I know there's some people that's waiting to ask some questions as well. Give you a quick story. I was 32, 33 years old. I was dating this older woman, right? Single mom, right? I would hit her with that whole ass, excuse me, pardon my French. I know you got a religious love. Sorry. I would hit her with that good morning text. Good morning. All the beautiful, back then, this was back in, 2014, 2015, like 6 years ago. I would hit her with those text messages, and then she would respond back. You know, just before I learned, you know, the game, I'm just getting divorced, you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, she would respond back, so on and so forth. And I was like, you know what? Let me cut all this BS out or whatever. I'm hitting her up out the blue, so on and so forth. So one day she pulls a move like you did. She says, you know, why haven't you been texting me in the morning anymore? Like, you know, I said I didn't want to seem like I was thirsty or anything. I knew this even before I, you know, took the red pill. This is way before then. I was like, I didn't want to seem like, you know, too thirsty or whatever. Da, da, da. She was like, I was really starting to like that or whatever, so on and so forth. I was like, I mean, I said, I can do that, but I don't want to be coming on too strong, too thirsty. Oh, you'll never come on too thirsty, so on and so forth. Da, 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 da. So I went in, I did the Bianca mode. She would say, I went into Bianca mode.
Bianca mode?
What you're describing a man should do, right? So I went into Bianca mode. I'm doing all that great stuff. Slowly, King Agupo, why is your bitch ass on my live? Like, why are you listening to a guy? I'm not red pill, so you can be gone. You dudes are cornballs, man. You got the red pill warriors. Shout out to the red pill warriors and these cornballs here. But anyway, before I took the red pill, anyway, whatever, man. These guys come in here and say stuff, but they watching me. Why would you watch somebody if you're a red pill warrior anonymous? Why are you watching me? Anyway, maybe they're watching. Maybe these guys, the same one. All the comments I was seeing, these guys who say these incredible things, and they, you know, they're totally awake and they say all the great things to women and they say all the right things. They're red pill warriors. They split the rent with their women, but they're the head of household. All those guys. Anyway, those are the red pill warriors. Same guy that's watching me, I'm not watching him. Same guy that's watching me saying I'm not red pill. You're not offending me, guy, because I know I can get women. But anyway, so I'm doing all this stuff, right? I'm in Bianca mode, you know, texting, doing all those lovely things. That's exactly what that is. I think I'm gonna start using that Bianca mode. I'm not mad. I'll just kick your bitch ass out of here. How about that? Let's get his bitch ass out of here. Anyway, he's gone. Say less. So I go into Bianca mode. Slowly and slowly, she pulls away. I'm not knowing what I'm doing, right? I think I'm supposed to do more, you know, still doing it. She pulls away, you know, pulls the sex away, you know, just slowly. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And so I'm like, yo, I hit her with what did I do wrong? Which no man should ever do. I didn't know all this at the time. She's like, what? Listen to what she tells me. Listen to what she tells me. You're just too needy. I said, needy? I said, and this is why you never take advice from a woman either in that aspect, because she was like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this. And then when I went into the Bianca mode, she turns around and says, you're just too needy. I just can't do this. You're just too needy. I said, needy? Jay. How am I needy? So
you're making one of the biggest mistakes that we're never supposed to make as life coaches. You can't take that one incident and then apply it across the board.
No, listen, Bianca. I gave you one instance. I could give you quite a few stories similar to that, but that's just one instance based off of what you're saying. I've had other instances about that because I've tested this out, and I know for sure what works, what doesn't work. And the fact that...
So I will say this. You can't categorize, just like you men say all men aren't the same. You can't say that about women. You can't use that rhetoric when it comes to you all and say, oh, well, all men don't do that. And then turn around and say all women do something. Because I'm not that woman. I have communicated I'm a communicator, first of all. What I would always say to anybody that I counsel or anybody that I give advice is that you got to first be real and honest with yourself. And when you're not real and honest with yourself, that's when you start feeling that pit in your stomach. You start feeling a little bit of anxiety, or you don't regret didn't do or say, or that you did do or did say that you did with it, or what have you. You know what I'm
Bianca, your audio is getting messed up. Can you hear me? Bianca, your audio is. Can you hear me? Bianca, yo, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Your audio, the audio is not working. Yeah, so while Bianca's working on her audio real quick, while we get that up, and we're gonna let her finish up. We're gonna take some questions here. I was just giving a quick story about, and I've got other stories similar to that, man, that's happened. You know what I mean? It that's just one that I gave her, and it's timeless. I'm pretty sure there's thousands, if not millions, of other guys who've encountered the same crap. I still can't hear you. You know, I can probably let me remove you, then you come back in. We'll do that. Can y'all hear her? Can anybody hear her? I guess nobody can hear her. I'm gonna remove you. I'm gonna remove you. Click the link and come back in. Just click the link and come back in. So while I'm doing that, while she's clicking the link to come back in, I'm gonna shout out the super chat. Shout out to Reggie, man. GR, many praise and honor to your content presentation. Don't play into that RP comment. It really doesn't bother me because I don't call myself a red pill warrior. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit there and say, "Hey, I'm red pill." Oh man. You know what I'm saying? We cannot hear. Okay. I'm just reading the private comments here. I'm red pill. I'm red pill this. You're not red pill. Why are you watching a simp, bro? Why y'all? I would never be, you know, if I don't get that, man. It's just too easy. I'm just trying to find this other super chat that bro left earlier. I'm trying to get Bianca to come back on here. Damn, Bianca, get Bianca to come back on here so she can take some questions. Hopefully you're still watching me. I see you guys in there on standby, man. Shout out to Chris Augustine. There she is. There's Bianca. So Bianca, can you is your audio good? I don't know what's going on with the audio. Your mic or whatever. See if you can change the mic. Because we got some questions. We got some folks who want to ask you some questions here. You put in your earpiece? Looks like anything to do with thing. Remember, not Alan thinking she's pretty. Not everybody thinks it's maybe that she's opinionated. Yeah, Bianca's definitely opinionated. Bianca, let's get this audio going. You muted your mic. She didn't mute her mic on StreamYard. I would see if she muted her mic. She didn't mute her mic on StreamYard. Is your mic muted on StreamYard?
You can't hear me? You still can't hear me?
Yeah, so I don't know what's happening, man, but we got off into that. Hopefully we can get this cracking, take a few questions from a few
Can you hear me?
few folks. If you're just now entering while we're on this quick intermission, while Bianca's getting her audio straight, hit that like button, man. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps to promote the video. Let's get this up. We're at 93 likes. Let's get this up to at least 100 likes for you guys in here. Just hit the like button. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. It's for a good cause. You know, helps out the algorithm and all those things like that. All right, let's try it now. I don't know why it's doing that, man. I can hear her now. It must be something with his. Ben, you said you can hear her? Wait up, Bianca, they said they can hear you. I can't hear you though. Let me see what's going on here. Say something. Hey, if you can hear it said it went out again. If you can hear Bianca, say something, Bianca. If you can hear her, press 1. If you can hear her right now, she's talking. Press 1. They said whatever you did just now, it was working. You did whatever you did something just now. You got people pressing 1 and people pressing 2. What the hell's going on here? Either you can hear or you can't. No. We can't hear you, Bianca. I don't know what's happening. You did something, whatever you did something just now and it worked. Click that mic, the mic thing at the bottom right, no audio. The ones are lies. Yeah, we can't hear you. All right, there we go.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now. Oh,
Instagram.
Shit. My damn, ain't that a bitch? My camera, my damn camera went out. Jeez.
I need you to add me back on Instagram.
Add you back on Instagram?
Yeah.
This is a night of technical difficulties, man. Holy shit. Good night, man.
You can't join the Instagram?
I'm gonna click on it right now. Hopefully this thing, let me do it here. And we're gonna get some questions in here.
So first I want to say, the thing is doing it again.
Yeah, I'm turning my audio. I'm turning it down, man. Sorry about that, guys. We're doing Instagram, man.
So for all the men that are talking about how opinionated I am, I'm sorry I don't fit the I guess women are supposed to be silent and shut up. I don't fit that. God created us equal. So my voice is just as important as yours, as long as I respect you as a person.
Every human being deserves respect, and deserves honor, and deserves love. And I feel like communication is key. And I think in any relationship, if you're authentic and honest and transparent, and you're communicating exactly what you need and want from a person, and that they are healed, then it should work. These females that supposedly told you, hey, I want you to text me more, I want you to call me more, and then they pull away and say, they have a problem. That's something with them. Some people are attracted to drama. This is a psychological fact that some people are prone. It sends off chemical endorphins in our bodies when we have conflict with one another. And some of that is called trauma bonding. And some people are operating under that. And they're still not healed. So let's make sure that we address the difference between a healed person versus someone who's not healed. The people you're referring to, I believe they still have healing that needs to take place. A healed woman is going to communicate exactly what she needs, and she's going to show you that she appreciates that you honored her request. That's simple.
Hey, how's the audio? I'm just
me, JR.
Yeah. Can y'all? Hey, is the audio good, guys? Because I know there was an echo. I'm sorry. Can y'all? Is the echo good?
Is there an echo?
Guys, let me know. Let me
For
know.
the men on my feed who keep saying no, men are first. There's voices first. I'm sorry, love. Maybe we just believe differently. I go by biblical, standards, and it's okay that you feel that way. Find a woman that agrees with you. It would not be a woman like me, and that's okay. You have a right to your opinion.
So audio's good. So did you have, before we take questions, Bianca, you had anything else you wanted to add on this topic? I know we covered a lot,
We did. The cheating thing. We didn't talk about cheating.
Okay. So
yeah, JR.
Yeah. So cheating, man, before we start taking these, and I'm gonna get your opinion on it. Some people believe love conquers all. I think, some guys, as much as they like to say women are more forgiving when it comes to infidelity, that seems to be a common thing. It seems to be something that, hurts a man's ego as well as breaking his heart when he knows that another man has been, doing all the things that he does to his woman, she's been doing. So getting back with her after the fact, he has to play those scenarios in his mind. So in terms of settling after that, I mean, that would take a strong man. I don't know if I could do that because.
But let's talk about how y'all cheat and expect that women are just supposed to get over it. Women, it's not fair. It's not fair. So men cheat all the time and it's expected, and women are easier to get over it. But when a woman cheats on a man, it's like y'all's whole world, y'all take years to heal.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely couldn't take it. I'm not built like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, once again, they say love conquers all. I don't know about that one, buddy. But if people can work through it, man, you're basically acting after that. Both sides, you're acting, you're pretending that something didn't happen. And maybe you forgive. They say forgiveness is powerful. I don't know if I can do that because I think I said this to you on a live. There's a hadith that goes, the closest thing that a man can be to hellfire, and I don't know if you remember this when I said it, I think I said it, is knowing that another man was with his woman, or knowing that another man was doing all of these things, spilling seed within his woman, or all these other things.
So this is my opinion, love. I just feel like it's so much hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the reasons why I choose to be single, because I just feel like it's so much hypocrisy. It's so not fair. And I'm not trying to take away the pain from either side. Listen, I had one of my guy friends. He reached out to me today, and he is broken because his woman, after 16 years, he found out that she's been having a polyamorous relationship and bisexual relationship behind his back. The betrayal. You know what I'm saying? And I feel for him because this is his second marriage where a woman cheated on him. Okay? So I'm not trying to take away, anybody's pain, or say, well, women got it worse than men. I'm not trying to do any of that. Infidelity hurts no matter who it's done by, whatever. My thing is, I feel like in society, especially Western society, there's this thought that women are to expect that men, especially if it's a high value man, to cheat. So you see it even with celebrities. If you marry a celebrity, you best believe. Look at Kevin Hart. He had a whole show touring, making jokes about his infidelity.
Yeah.
And she right along with her man, and we praise it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro was just exercising options.
This is his second marriage. He cheated on the first one and cheated on the second one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I just feel like.
So can you work through it, Bianca, at the end of the day? Can you work through it at this point in your life?
Listen. I said this before, JR, when I was on live with you before. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I can forgive you all day long. I forgive you, boo. But that don't mean I'm reconciling with you. It's deuces.
So it's over.
It's bye.
It's over.
It's over. It's over. It is completely over. There is no love conquers all with that. I can love you from a distance. And I'm gonna do what my rightfully Bible says I can do. If there's adultery, I'm stepping.
Hey, real love conquers all, Bianca. Cut that out. Real love conquers all.
Love conquers all with me stepping and leaving and loving you from a distance.
Yo.
I'm gonna forgive you and let you have a come to Jesus meeting, but I ain't gotta be married to you.
Wow.
It's biblical. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I hear you.
But here's the other part of that. Here's the other part. Here's the balance. It doesn't mean that if someone cheats that you have to divorce them. Maybe in that situation you realize, dang, I missed all these clues. Maybe I put the business before my mate. Maybe he wasn't getting what he needs from me. Or maybe she wasn't getting you know what? I really want to work on this. I really want to try because I missed that and I really love this person. So I'm not hating for the people who stay. I'm not hating on you. You know what I'm saying? If you choose to stay, you count up the costs. Right?
Right.
But I'm just saying I ain't that woman.
Understood.
I'm leaving.
Understood. I hear you. So
I'm bouncing.
So
I'm bouncing deuces.
So we know where you stand. We know where I stand. So I mean, it is what it is. So
it is what it is. We cutting ties, boo.
Yo, so we had some people in here, man. I see anybody got any questions? See the devil's advocate here. We about to bring you on, man. You know, see what you guys got some input. See if you got any questions here. Let's go ahead and bring you on, man.
What is going on, man? How you doing? I'm doing all right. How are you, man? Hey. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man.
All right, cool.
It's not on my Instagram, but it's okay.
Yeah, what's up, man? What you got?
Not a whole lot. I wanted to chime in back when you were talking about the femininity, masculinity thing. So I had just joined when one of the first things I heard. What was your guest's name again? Bianca?
Bianca, yes.
Yeah. She said something about the problems that she was having with the guys and that she's as feminine as they come, but she had an interaction where a partner said she made him, you made him feel emasculated? I don't want to get your words wrong the way you said it.
So it was in my marriages where they felt like I did not need them. And I use the word demasculate because for a man to say that I did not need him, I felt like that demasculates him.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Then you were saying like you're as feminine as they come and said that men had been intimidated. And I had a question for JR and for the audience because I want to kind of get them involved. I saw that they're pressing 1s and 2s and stuff, so they're pretty active audience. So like from your experience, JR, when a woman says that that they tend to intimidate men, whether it's for good reason or not, do those tend to be the more feminine women, or does it have no bearing kind of on their femininity?
I think it's I think that term is overused. You know, a lot of these videos, if you've been watching my channel, a lot of these women tend to say that on these reaction videos that men are intimidated by either their success or how much, you know, money they may have or what they may achieve, or some man is afraid. I don't think that directly correlates with her femininity. I just think that it may be just it's just another one of those talking points. I think
Yeah.
that they just keep using that. It just sounds like it sounds good. Guys, either you choose a lower quality guy, or you choose a guy that may not be as successful as you. And you, because if a guy is more successful than you, I don't think that, and I'm not necessarily saying this is always the case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't assume that he would, be intimidated by you.
Yeah.
I know what Bianca was saying earlier wasn't necessarily intimidation. It was what was it, Bianca? It was that they didn't feel like you needed them. So I don't think I think that's different from intimidation, if you will.
Yeah.
So.
And so that kind of made me pay attention to, okay, why did these things happen, or what's been my experience? And then it made me wonder about your experience. The other two observations I made was there was a part where he was talking. She mentioned a gentleman that mentioned his daughter and said, he's acting more feminine than she was, or at least in the moment. It was kind of in jest, though. She was kind of, I don't think it was a joke, but there was that comment. Then the one other one was she had experience in the past where her partners felt emasculated. And so I completely agree with you with the whole
partners felt demasculated. So let's correct that.
Okay.
I never said that my partners felt demasculated. What I said is I use that term because if someone says that I did not need them as a man, that to me is interpreted as demasculating, because men want to feel like they're needed and a provider. I joked about him being feminine, the guy that I talked to, because you hear more men complain about women putting their children before them. Yeah. You hear that come from men.
I don't think that's a good reason for a guy to complain. Like I mean, because that's how things should be. But in a culture now that like we've never seen before, where there's so many single moms that like we kind of can't get out of it. We can't snap our fingers and undo that. But obviously, a woman's child should come before men that are courting her. I have heard arguments that like a husband. Actually, I wish I remembered what YouTube channel it was, but a woman was talking about how many problems her and her husband were having, and her therapist told her to put her husband first. And I actually I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. But then she said that managing the kids became 10 times easier when she started putting him first, because they weren't at each other's throats.
Exactly.
So that was an interesting point that I just learned. Like, I think it was probably 2 days ago when I saw that. But
I was just about to correct that with you, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but so the person who's saying that is coming from a biblical perspective. So therefore, he is served first, and when he is served first, then the children come in line. That's order. It's the order, and when that happens, there's unity. And it functions. But when you're putting children before and they're not seeing you honor the head of the household, that's when dysfunction comes and disalignment.
Perfect.
And we had this conversation on your live. We because we went over. That's when you reached out to me, Bianca. Just so for everybody watching, when I did a reaction to Bianca's video, which I'll link for you guys to check out, she kind of expounded on what she meant, and we came to a common ground, a common understanding of what you just got at just now. And basically she expounded, saying that your husband, and as you said earlier in this chat about God, Christ, so on and so forth, husband, then so that chain or that step. But that's what it is. Dating, I agree with that as well. I'm on the same. I think we're all on the same wavelength in terms of understanding, and when it comes to that. But when you become an actual husband, nah. And I think I covered that on a video where I shared like some Facebook screenshots where there were some people talking about it, some of my Facebook friends. But
and thanks for the correction on the not emasculating, but more of an intimidation thing. I'm actually starting to see that on dating apps. Like if you're intimidated by a woman that X, Y, and Z, and this misinterpretation, I feel like it's pushed almost like, not to jump into a whole new topic, but the wage gap. It's like everyone, even 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds in college, like think that men are intimidated by a woman that makes a lot. And I think that that's a misunderstanding you might see that men start to pull back, but I think I mean I have a lot of high earning female friends, and I respect them as I respect a male high earning friend. It doesn't work for them or against them when it comes to dating, but that depends on their profession. So like if they're a lawyer, I'm not intimidated by how much money she makes, but I do understand that lawyers are paid $400 an hour to get good at being able to deconstruct your argument and have 3 counter arguments before you finish your sentence. And that might not translate well to arguments in relationships,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, man.
So it's like the traits that make you characteristic in a cutthroat corporate environment might just happen to work against you when you're in an argument with your spouse is really what I'm trying to say. But that might not work. That might not be true at all for an elementary school teacher, or something that's not as high stress, or, that could cause someone to take it out in their relationship. And entrepreneurship, to her point, it's strenuous on both genders. So I've heard people say that it's tough when entrepreneurs date entrepreneurs because of the demands of just that cutthroat environment, super competitive. You can't take 4 weeks of vacation a year.
Hold what you got real quick, man.
Yeah.
I'm about to send another bitch ass red pill warrior to the Phantom Zone. You need to send her to talk to Kevin. You simp too much, bro.
It's
funny no buns getting dude sitting up there whacking off tonight, probably to this. Anyway, man, go ahead, Bianca. I'm sorry.
See somebody like dog and cuss out a woman and be, just demean her. Men who do and say this is just very interesting. You show that you have some unhealed area of hurt when you want to see somebody be dogged out, talked down to, and demeaned.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost not worth our time. But I do like the healthy pushback too. And did you hear? Because I saw you got up. Did you hear the part about like the lawyer example?
Yes, and I want to chime in with that.
Okay, yeah.
I totally respect your output, your outlook on that, because it is accurate and it's true. Because sometimes we don't separate our business life with our personal life. The reality of it is, we should be the same person whether we're at work or at home. But so many of us wear so many different hats, and we are schizophrenic, and we are never our true, authentic self until you get to the point that you are consistent in who you are, both at your job, at home, and with friends and with family. That's when you know that you're healed and whole. And the key thing that people have to remember is being aware. When you're communicating, a lawyer who's communicating, realizing like, okay, I'm talking to my husband. I'm not talking to somebody, in the courtroom. You know what I mean? That takes self-awareness to realize, what am I saying? How am I saying it? What's my tone? Why do I feel this way? Why am I being triggered? All of that is self-introspection and awareness, and it takes time to really process and think.
Right.
And now we're getting somewhere too.
Not too many people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's just that man or woman, opposites attract. So like if you have 2 entrepreneurs or 2 type A lawyers very good at their job, they're too much. There's like yin and yang, not yin and yang. Who knows? Because like I think that those 2 personality types really clash. My mom is very type A, rule with an iron fist growing up. And I watched her struggle in the dating realm because she really liked type A alpha men. I'm talking like 6 foot plus, muscular. She was trying to find a African-American role model for me too, because I was mixed. So similar like single mom situation, but I've seen like 18 years of those 2 types of personalities clash. So the one caveat I wanted to add was that I read that the divorce rate spikes when women out earn their partners, but not the other way around. So I do think that the high earning women might be able to find a man that can fall into like a more supportive role. But the caveat that men or that society can't really deal with is that divorce rate spikes and the psychology behind it, because women initiate like 70 to 80% of divorces.
But why? I guess the what my input would be to that is the why. To get to the truth, you got to ask what, why, how, when, all those questions get to the root of the truth. There's a reason why women are 78% initiating divorces. There's also a reason why men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide.
And it's very situational, just like you said. There's and each of those factors are different, but until we know the answers to those questions, like as long as those trends persist, they're a huge problem. And it's interesting because the Black community is kind of like a canary in the coal mine. Like all the biggest issues that stem from it show up in our community first. So this huge fatherlessness issue, the high divorce rates, and in the Black community, people aren't getting married altogether. Like it's not, I'm just trying to add nuance to the whole, like, are men intimidated by women that earn a lot? It's like, ideally, all these high earning businesswomen that are out competing men in the workplace now that weren't there in the 50s and in the 1920s could find someone that could fall into a supportive role. But I think women will always like men who prefer to lead and are more A-type, alpha type. And so that's kind of where the friction is because it's hard for women to kind of respect men that fall into more of a supportive role that earn half of what they earn. Women tend not to date down socioeconomically.
Awesome, bro. Good input, man. I go ahead, man. We're gonna finish out that and go to the next call. What you got to say? Bianca?
I hear you, and that is a good perspective. However, I want to provide another perspective. I think that here in Western civilization and how we promote certain, socio-economical standards and different things like that all plays a part. But I don't necessarily think that the high-earning woman is necessarily looking for someone who's subservient. You mentioned something about not being able to find the alpha male for that high-earning woman. I think it goes back to how men are taught that women are supposed to be stay at home, barefoot, and pregnant.
Yeah.
That's what y'all are taught. So when a woman is not that, then it's viewed as being negative. And that's the mentality. That's the issue. I don't think it necessarily to do with her earning high income. Because if we look at it biblically, the virtuous woman was very astute, intelligent. She helped her
Proverbs 31.
Okay, build an empire. It says that she was very crafty, that she was intelligent, that she knew how to make that money.
And I think we agree more than you think there. Like, I don't think women shouldn't have an opinion. I think they should be trusted counsel. Like, they should be the person you listen to over a lot of close people to you in your life, because they're the person most affected by a man's or that family's financial decisions. So I wouldn't agree with whoever was saying they shouldn't have it.
She should definitely have a say.
Yeah.
In terms of that, not, in terms of that counsel as you described, for sure.
Yeah. I'll let y'all go. That was a really good discussion.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate your input, man.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
So let's go ahead and bring the next caller in here, Bianca, and we're gonna wrap this up. Jack of Spades. I don't know, man, if you're gonna get on camera, but let's not do any foolishness here. Yes, sir. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. Happy holidays, everybody.
Oh, likewise.
How you doing, JR and Bianca? I've got a very short question.
Sure.
Don't worry about I don't do the foolishness, bro. I don't do the foolishness.
Yeah.
Now, this is to Bianca. This is concerning the dating per se. Have you ever thought about putting maybe less expectations on the dating itself and maybe focus on it as maybe companionship? Now, the reason why I ask is my son graduated high school 2010. So I end up having kind of wait for the women for their children to graduate high school and move on out. But then what happened was the women, they started taking on second jobs to kind of, tamper down their debt. And they also started having grandchildren. So the free time that as of this, I have a granddaughter. She's only like 3 weeks old. My son lives like 5 hours from here. So I still have a lot more flexibility than the women here in Atlanta, the ones that work in the second job and having grandparent duties. So I'm having to pretty much kind of scale back, not so much looking for a relationship, but kind of look at it from a companionship perspective. And maybe that will allow you to buy a little bit of time, still have someone that you can have the dinner dates and stuff like that, but kind of wait until the last 2 children a little bit more older, maybe a little bit self-sufficient, maybe out of the door, and then ramp up the looking for a relationship if that's what you're really looking for.
So just to make sure that I understand your question, you're asking me, do I think it's beneficial to not put so much focus on the dating expectations, but something more like a companion? Is that correct?
Correct. Not so much a friend zone type of thing, but a little bit more personable, but it's not a relationship.
Okay, so let me address that because I had this situation. I had the guy that I was talking to. I basically told him like I'm more interested in a companion because at that point in my life I was like I didn't really see a benefit in marrying. The only point of marrying somebody was for the dick. That would be it. I mean, just to be a little blunt and honest. And at that point, the dick wasn't that important to me that I would marry somebody. So I was like, I'd rather have somebody that I can go on trips with, spend time with, and you go to your house and I come back to mine and we cool. We friends, we companions. I ain't doing no friends with benefits, but I can be that woman that you can call and I, go to functions, look good and be, all of that. And he was like, he wanted a wife. So for me, I'm like, you got to know what you want. If you're dating to marry, then that's called courting. Or if you're just dating because you just want to date, then that's another situation. So if we're dating to court, then there's going to be some expectations because we have a end goal. Okay? And it doesn't mean that I'm going to put a ton of expectations because my whole expectation in the beginning is to know who I'm dealing with. Who are you? What are your desires? What are your challenges? What do you seek for? All those things. I'm getting to know you. So that means I require time to get to know you. But if you just dating just to be dating, then we chilling. We just going to the movies, going to get something to eat. If you want to come with me to the DR, we can do that. And that's it. And there's no expectations other than we chilling.
So you've had gentlemen that you've pretty much put that forward, like, hey, check it out. I've got this going on. I got this going on. I'm not really looking for something serious, not looking for marriage. I really just, on my free times that I do have for myself, I would like to go out and just enjoy myself with a male that I feel safe with, that I enjoy being around.
There was a point in my life that I was very communicative, and I said, "Look, I'm not down with friends with benefits. I don't give my body to be people. That's not how I roll. But I'm looking for somebody to be a travel buddy, or when I want to go to a function, that you can be on my arm. Can you do that?" And it's funny because some of them was like, "Yeah, but they would try. They would try on the intimacy level," and I'd be like, "Hold up. We already discussed this. I would always have to set the boundaries again, but they respected the fact that I communicated from the beginning, this is what I want. That's it. I'm not playing no games. I'm not giving you no kisses. We ain't touching each other inappropriately. If you there as my chill buddy, That's what it is. I ain't playing those games. And I have more men who respect me because of that. Because I say what I say and I mean what I say. I ain't sitting up here tonguing you down your throat and then saying we ain't dating. No. If we chill buddies, that's what it is. We ain't touching, we ain't kissing, we ain't doing none of that. We just chilling.
Okay, perfect. Hey, I'm a man of very little words, so I'm about done. But everybody have a great week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Be safe.
Likewise, brother. Hey, appreciate it, man.
No problem.
So if we don't have any other questions, I think we had a few other people, but they must have left. This has been, as usual, we always have these lit, as these young folks say, Bianca, we always have these lit lives. And finally, you're on my side of the, instead of Instagram. I know we're still on Instagram as well, but you finally joined me on the YouTube side, and for the people who don't know Bianca, I know people had opinions. People who know her or don't know her.
I finally saw the comments. Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
These people in the comments are reckless.
Oh, the YouTube comments?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They are reckless. I mean, they are some keyboard warriors out here. Like, they staying strong in the fight.
Hey, trust me. Like, I get the comments on my end, and I'm the one putting the content out. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I don't even. It's crazy. I think we definitely got your perspective on it, especially from a woman of experience, so to speak. That you aren't like fresh out of high school. You've had life experiences. You even just explained it on just now with the caller about having travel buddies and having a strictly platonic relationship, and we're not going to transgress these boundaries unless I deem so fit. So I mean, there's quite a few different lessons and opinions to be taken from this. And, I hope that we covered everything that we should have covered. I know we talked about the infidelity portion. I don't think did we miss anything else?
I don't think we missed anything else. I think we had some really good points there. It's interesting though to see these comments at the end and how people view, they call women that have opinions abrasive. At no point have I ever disrespected you. It's just amazing. It shows so many people are just in a need of healing. We hear messages, and we hear what we want to hear, and that's unfortunate. And that's probably why dysfunction continues in relationships, because people hear what they want to hear, you know?
Yeah, it's and it goes back to the whole, and that's why I say don't read the comments. And I think other shows say don't read the comments in terms of that, because you'll come across and read some ignorance in there, or just somebody just trying to be seen or heard, or things like that. And it's really just a grasp for attention, man. But once again, man, this is it. We're gonna wrap it up. Did you have anything else? Where can people find you at? I know you explained your situation with one of the social media accounts, but anyway, where can people find you at?
On YouTube is Bianca L. Gibson. And then on Instagram is Bianca L. Gibson, FIY. And then on TikTok is Bianca L. Gibson.
And
so pretty.
Yeah. And those are all linked in the description, by the way, guys. If you guys want to check those out, they're all linked in the description. What can we look forward, to, from what you'll be putting out here soon? What can we look forward to, Bianca?
Well, I'm going to be posting a video about a topic that we just kind of briefly brushed over, how women are not to put their kids before their husband. That's one of those hot topics that I feel like, needs to be discussed, and why there's a order in a position, and when it's out of alignment, what happens?
Right.
The family structure.
Absolutely. Once again, hey, y'all look out. Me and Bianca probably gonna be doing, co-hosting some of these, live topics in the future as well. I'm just gonna add a comment. I guess you got the brother that came in here. He wanted to add something that was in before. I'm gonna just read his comment. He wanted to have this put out. You don't have to pull me in. Men have evolved to ensure paternity. This is not a result of a fragile ego. Women have never had to worry about if they are investing their life into their child. And that's what we talked about. You guys talked about earlier in terms of that. So, look out. You guys be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for some upcoming collabs with Bianca. And y'all make sure you guys subscribe and follow her on all those platforms she mentioned there in the description. If you haven't, make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one. Anything else you want to add, Bianca?
No, I just appreciate everybody, both negative comments and positive comments. I think they're all good.
Absolutely.
We're learning and growing, and hopefully, we take away and pull out the bones.
God willing. So with that being said, man, we will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out of here. And
all right.
peace.